In tennis, every era has its architects. Sampras shaped the 90s, Federer built a cathedral of grace, Nadal carved a fortress into the red clay of Paris, and Djokovic, he rewrote the rules of survival. But what happens when a new architect emerges, one with the explosive flair of youth and the growing burden of expectation? This is the story of Carlos Alcaraz at the 2025 French Open. Not just a run for the title, but a reflection on identity, legacy, pressure, and what it means to chase greatness with the whole world watching. Carlos Alcaraz came to Paris not as the next big thing, but as the guy, the reigning champion, world number 3rd, a Grand Slam winner on 3 surfaces, still just 22, yet already carrying comparisons to Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, sometimes all at once, and that's part of the problem. When you win early, people stop seeing you as a 22-year-old. They see you as a dynasty in waiting. Every match becomes a referendum. Every loss, a collapse. Every win, a mere obligation. In a press conference before the tournament, Alcaraz said something that stood out. "I'm not trying to be the next Rafa. I'm trying to be the first Carlos." It sounded rehearsed, but it wasn't fake. It was a quiet rebellion, you might say, against the very expectations that have followed him since he was 17. No tournament is more haunted than Roland Garros. The red clay holds the ghosts of champions and the pressure of permanence. It's where Nadal became immortal, where Djokovic battled the crowd and the calendar, where dreams crumble in 5-set marathons that feel like spiritual exorcisms. Alcaraz knows this terrain, but not like Nadal did. He doesn't worship the clay. He tolerates it. He moves on it like a cat, slides like a dancer, but he also fights himself on it more than he should. It's clay that demands patience. And Alcaraz, he's impatient by nature. He wants the winner on the second shot. He wants the crowd in the palm of his hand. He wants to play highlight reel tennis in every point. And that's the tension. You can win here playing brilliant tennis, but to win again, to build a legacy, you need something uglier. Discipline. And that's what this year would test. This year's French Open was louder than usual. Now, not just the crowds, but the conversations. Jannik Sinner, Alcaraz's friendly rival, had risen to world number 1, won earlier in the year, but then came the doping controversy, a confusing cocktail of supplements, medical exemptions, and public suspicion. Though Sinner denied any wrongdoing and remained in the draw, the buzz around him became deafening. For Alcaraz, it created a strange shift. He was no longer just chasing a trophy. He was being quietly positioned as the clean face of the sport. The golden boy, the anti-Sinner, the savior of tennis. Whether fair or not, it created a new kind of pressure. One that had nothing to do with his racket and everything to do with narrative. "I'm not here to carry tennis. I'm just here to play it," he said after a 3rd-round win. But the truth? In moments like this, players don't get to choose their roles. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner have played some of the best matches in recent memory. 5-set thrillers, late-night epics, a contrast of styles and temperaments. But for all their on-court fireworks, their off-court rivalry is oddly muted. There's no bad blood, no press conference drama, no social media jabs. It's almost respectful. Too respectful. And yet that silence might say more than words because, make no mistake, they do want to beat each other. They just don't want to admit how badly. And at Roland Garros, that undercurrent came to life. Sinner was in the other half of the draw. Alcaraz knew that if he kept winning, a showdown would come. But instead of inspiring him, it seemed to weigh him down. He started playing tighter, more conservative, less joy, more calculation. The smile that once lit up center court was rare this time. Or not gone, but guarded. What do you do when you're told you're the future of the sport, but you don't feel like it? Alcaraz wrestled with this question all tournament long. In some matches, he looked like a man possessed, hitting 110 miles per hour forehands with that signature skip step into the net. In others, he seemed passive, like he was waiting for permission to play freely. Fans noticed, commentators noticed, even fellow players noticed. But maybe most telling was a moment in the quarterfinal post-match interview. When asked about his performance, Alcaraz didn't talk about his serve, his movement, or his tactics. He said, "I'm still learning who I am out there. It's not about tennis anymore, it's about me." That wasn't strategy, that was identity crisis. The quarterfinal match didn't go the way he wanted. His opponent, a relentless baseliner with nothing to lose, dragged Alcaraz into long rallies, exposed his impatience, and disrupted his rhythm. It wasn't a beatdown, but it was a defeat. A technical loss, yes, but a symbolic one too, because in that match, Alcaraz wasn't just facing a player, he was facing his reflection, raw talent without direction. He left the court to a standing ovation, but his expression was distant, not devastated, just searching. And in the press room afterward, he said, I didn't lose because I wasn't good enough. I lost because I wasn't sure of myself. Yeah, that's a hard thing for any athlete to admit. It's even harder when the world thinks you already have all the answers. So what does this tournament mean for Carlos Alcaraz? He didn't win it. He didn't reach the final. He didn't prove the doubters wrong, but maybe, just maybe, that's the point. Because tennis careers aren't built on highlight reels. They're built on moments like these. All right, when things don't go your way, when the story doesn't write itself, when you have to look in the mirror and figure out who you really are. Alcaraz is not Federer. He's not Nadal. He's not Djokovic. He's something new, something undefined. A player born into the era of comparison, but trying to build his own name brick by brick. And that takes time and mistakes and quarterfinal exits in Paris. Carlos Alcaraz may not have lifted the trophy at Roland Garros in 2025, but in a strange way, he left with something deeper, a crack in the armor, a glimpse of doubt, a sign that even greatness takes time, and that, in the end, might be the most valuable lesson of all. Because the legends we worship, they didn't just win, they grew. Carlos Alcaraz and The Weight of Greatness, the 2025 French Open story. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more tennis stories that go beyond the baseline.